Hi everyone, and welcome to week 3 of the McFade Photography Critique. What it is, if you're new to all this, is that it's your chance to anonymously upload a photo for me to have a look at and just share my thoughts on some tips, ideas on composition processing, whether the photo works or not. It is totally anonymous, so if you want to join in, just drop us a line at training@mcfade.co.uk with your email address, and I'll add you to the Dropbox folder, and you can then upload a photo to the next few weeks critique folders. So that's my logo there. So let's go over to the folder. So here we are, we've got 6 this week, so where should we start? Well, let's start this one here. Let's have a quick look. So let's get this up on the screen. So yeah, nice Yorkshire scene there. Photo of 2 halves. So you've got this distinct border between that half where the tree line ends, and then you've got this half with the walls and things like that. So my initial sort of thoughts are you've got a really nice strong line here breaking up these walls. So you've got lots of walls coming left to right, and there's a nice wall going across the scene from from bottom left to top right. Now, were I shooting this, I think I'd probably grab a long lens and make something of that. Maybe see if I could zoom in and get this nicely placed barn here and one of the third points. Let's just see. Yeah, oh, I'm messing that up. Let's just it's quite thin inside, isn't it? I'll just show you, try and show you what I would, So imagine you're out. Yeah, that doesn't quite work as I was planning, but you can see rather than getting all the stuff in the bottom, you're going to use this line as the main sort of compositional feature. Anyway, so let's go back to the let's have a look at this. Have a quick look at the histogram, because it's not flat by any means, because there's quite a lot of black going on down here. But I think the midtones, maybe if you brightened up the greens on this one, if you're in Lightroom doing the conversion, if you use your little eyedropper tool and click on the grass and drag it up, you're going to get these fields looking nice and bright and whiter, and that'll leave the walls dark, and you get more of a contrast going on. Well, I think we can get the histogram up. Yeah, here we go. Shift H, the future reference. There you go. All right, so it's, yeah, the histogram's fine, but you can see what I mean. It's mainly at -1. That's your biggest thing. So you're getting everything about the same brightness as you would do if you photographed a piece of mahogany, not mahogany, oak or something like that, which is -1. Whereas if you've got the fields a bit brighter up at this sort of level here where I'm tickling, that would work better. Now, compositionally, it's in 2 halves. My feeling is that this bottom section here is too close to the bottom. That house it's got no breathing space there, and so if you're going to include those, I'd have tilted the whole shot down. So this building here was probably about 1/3 of the way into the shot up here. It's alright from the left side, but it's too close to the bottom for my liking. And it looks like there's a nice wall here, which if you'd have tilted down, you'd have brought that into play. So I think you've got 2 half shots here, and if you'd gone for a lower shot to make more of the village or a higher shot to make more of the walls, you've probably got a better result. Let me just see if I can chop out an interesting crop, just for fun. Bit of a portrait one here. Look, what's that going to look like? Yeah, I mean, sort of works. Anyway, go to the next shot. Right. Right, this looks like something from a TVR workshop we did, so First thing is, I like these water blobs up here. It's definitely HDR because it was a HDR sort of look to those greens outside. You retain the sky and everything. Um, so, I mean, you have probably got me stood there, a couple of tripods. That's my tripod bag and that. If you're going to do an interior shot, I'd probably try and crop out all those sort of distractions. So you could either go for a nice sort of dashboard style crop. We're still going to get those bags in, aren't we? Well, you could clone those out in Photoshop, I suppose, but you could, you know, that's that's showing off all the details like the handbrake, window switches, vents, steering wheel, and gear stick, and this lovely walnut dashboard here, or maybe a taller sort of look. But I know on the day we had to park the cars somewhere, so they're in the background. So what I would have been doing myself, I'd have opened the window like you've done, and maybe got a longer lens and zoomed in on some of the details. Or with a longer lens still, is using a nice wide aperture so the background blurs. You'll just get like a more pastel-y kind of look in the background. I mean, that'll be a big white blob, that'll be a big green blob, the head should be a blob. So that's possibly what I'd do. HDR wise, let's just get it full screen. Yeah, I mean, you managed to retain all the details. Let's just get the histogram up. Yep, so nothing clipping on the black or white end, so good histogram going on there like that. Maybe these greens are a little bit on the bright side and a little bit oversaturated. It's not too in your face, and the orange and green thing does sit quite differently. You know what's inside because it's got this orange tone. You know what's outside, it's got the green tone. Oops. Sorry about that. Let's get back to the car. Yeah, I think if you're reshooting this, what would you do? When I've been shooting stuff, this sort of view here, maybe try and get the door open as well and shoot from this sort of level here. So that would hide the stuff in the background. So if you're shooting from this angle, the dashboard's going to be high and you're just going to see the sky in the background, which hides all these things in the background there. Let's do it again. I think I'm catching the wheel on my mouse. Yeah, you've also got some flare blobs going there. I think it must be from rain actually. These, what are these? Oh, they're the vents. Gotcha. Right. What other stuff would I suggest? I actually really like these, the water blobs on the ceiling. I mean, if you want an abstract for some bizarre reason, you could probably just go something like that. That's really nice. Okay. Right, so that's a HDR interior of a car. Not an easy shot to do. I've done it for Turtle Wax and it took me 3 days to get the right shot, so well done here. Right, so looks like we're on to another HDR here, and that is Dunstanburgh Castle. Looks like this is Dunstanburgh here. I don't recognise this bit as much because I never really walk away from the sea when I'm up there. So compositionally, I think a step to the left. So you've got this separation here. Guys, stop doing that. I just keep catching the wit. It's done it again. Oh, let me get back. There we go. So you've got this gorse bush overlapping the castle. So what I would like to see is maybe less of the gorse bush as well. I mean, it's a nice colour, and I think it does occupy a nice bit of foreground interest over here. But it's dominating the scene. It's about 3 times bigger, maybe 4 times bigger than the castle. So maybe if you'd move the step to the left, that would make this a bit more prominent, and this could lead you into the shot rather than being where it is. So let's have a little look, just to check out how you've managed to process it a little. So when we get in there, you can see you've focused on the gorse brush, so you're getting lots of detail here. You can see these spines and things like that are looking nice and sharp. But the castle itself is quite soft. Now, not necessarily an issue, but I think with it being the focal point of the photo, maybe you need a smaller f-stop for this shot. Maybe, I don't know, what, can we see what f-stop you used? Yeah, you're on f9 there. So to get a sharper castle, maybe try f16 next time. Just gives you more depth of field, which gives you more sharpness from front to back. So that's one tip there. The HDR's not done a bad job. You've not got any haloing around the edges of things, nothing too over the top of the sky. Colours look a little fantastical in the foreground. I think this is one of those shots which would definitely benefit from a vignette. Not a big one, nothing too dark, just to darken the edges and bring the eye over to here a little. So let's have a little play with a crop. So bearing in mind what I was talking about with the castle being the major sort of player in this shot, we don't want it right in the centre, but we don't want too much of this tree, this bush. So let's just I'm going to place this. There we go. Control Y. No, I think what you needed to do, it's hard to crop it because it's in the wrong place to begin with. But if you could take a couple of steps or one step to that way to the left, this gap here would have opened up, and you get this nice separation going. Okay. What else could you do? I mean, there's a panoramic crop there. As you can see, when you do the pano crop, it definitely is too much gorse bush, isn't it? So I'd almost maybe something on those lines. No, there's too much gap there now. But sharpening wise, now we're nice and big. Yeah, could probably do with a bit more sharpening. There's soft edges on these things, so just a bit of tastefully done sharpening would help as well. Okay. Oh wow, that's what you call a bit dizzying, isn't it? Properly drawn into this shot, you've got these huge three white lines from these two girded stanchions going up, and this side here, and you just sucked up into the shot. Is it central? Fairly central. It's one of those where maybe a little more punch would benefit it, as in a little bit more contrast. Let's just, I'm in histogram mode today, let's just see where everything is. So, as you can see, there's nothing particularly black in the shot down this end. There's nothing massively white, although the white's not too bad, you don't want it clipping. But if this bit here was a bit whiter and this bit here was a bit darker, I think you're going to get a stronger image. But I mean, you really can't argue with this for a zoom perspective point. I like the red. That sort of it just adds that sort of bit of drama. It makes it look like a Formula One kind of shot. Compositionally, I suppose there's these bits and bobs at the edges which. Oh, let's do it again. These bits and bobs at the edges which may, don't really add to the shot. Don't take away from it, but it's always good to be aware of stuff on the edges of photos. I'm just going to try and place that point there on the bottom third.
So I'm just getting away from these pipes and I'm putting that on this third intersection point. So I'll crop that. So you can see now you've got this. It totally changes the shot, really, doesn't it? You're zooming to an edge or a third point rather than to the centre. So if we try it to another one, maybe how about start it there? I know I've just done that, haven't I? Let's start it here. Oops. Let's come back and let's start it here. Just to show you how positioning your focal point on this sort of shot changes the feel of it. So now everything's shifted to the top left intersection point. So remember, you've got a point there, a point there, a point there, and a point there. So if you've got these sort of zoom points in, you've got the time. Shoot one there, one there, one there, and one there, one in the middle. It only, I mean, if you're shooting handheld, let's just have a look at your exit information here. So you were shooting 100th of a second at f5.6. So probably handheld. It just takes you 2-3 seconds. Shoot one at either point like that, and then when you get back to Lightroom, you can look at it and see which one works best. And do the middle one as well, by all means. Okay. So yeah, in general, more contrast. Have a play with the crop, but yeah, I like it. You're seeing the shot nicely there. Okay. So who's next? Right. So wow, these are colourful. It's one of those bad light moments, isn't it, really? Shooting something that's in the shade. So I know it looks like a HDR, but what you're trying to do is you've got a bright road, and it is a really bright day. There's no sun in the sky, there's no clouds in the sky. Now this wall here is naturally going to be really, really dark. So when you shoot a HDR of something like this, you're always going to end up with a really unnatural looking photo, which this is. It's not unpleasant because it's got some lovely features like these harbour view, nice low angle by the looks of it, points of interest like, oops, this thermometer here, nice coloured windows. Is it somewhere like behind a mall? Could be Tobermory because they've got lots of coloured buildings. You can see, let's just have a look at your histogram just to check. Yeah, there's no white. So if you look at that, so this may be a sign that you protected your highlights too much. It could be because your monitor on your your monitor set too bright. So whenever you're editing the shot, it'll start burning out on the monitor before it's actually burning out. So that's why calibrator is good. So that gap there is almost a stop. So it's half as bright as it should be on the top end. So have a little look at that. I like the composition, the whoosh sort of thing going on. Maybe you could lose. Actually, it's an interesting one because that thing there looks like the local weather station is quite interesting, but it's very close to the lamppost. What you could do if you've got Photoshop is just just select this lamppost and do Shift F5. I'll just get rid of the damn thing. It'll just copy beautifully this pebble dash over it. Gets a bit tight towards the end here, and you've got this big bit of empty space going on. Yeah. Let's just have a quick look at the detail here. Looks like we've got a bit of noise coming in. I'll just let's have a look. Yeah, so if you've got chance, see this little speckly thing going on here. It's just noise. You can probably use Nick Define or Lightroom just to try and reduce that. Okay. Alternative crops. Well, let's lose this end here because of the lamppost. And what does it look like to there? This is just no, that doesn't work, does it? Maybe even a more aggressive one like that. Because it's quite a big expanse of open space there, isn't it? You know, we call it in the movies cutting to the chase, don't we? This. So if we, oh, stop. Really sorry about that. If we just did that, all the actions over here, and okay, you probably do a better job in Lightroom, but that's the sort of idea. Rather than having acres of room over here, which is a bit empty, just cut to the chase a bit. Okay, so next one. My old haunt, Newcastle. Right, okay. So you've got the main three elements of this area, and you've got the Time Bridge, Sage, or the giant condom as I call it, and the arch itself. This is really nice. Yeah. I assume it's HDR because you've still got tonal stuff going on here in these bits. It's not just whited out. Good time of night because you've still got blue in the sky. It's not gone completely black. Clearly a long exposure because you've got movement on this cloud, and you've got movement in the Tyne itself. You can see the little waves going past and bits of flotsam and jetsam going past. High f stop, got these little diamond things going on around the lens. That's nice and purple there. I think it's a really nice shot. The key to this location is composing these things, the two arches, so they work. So you've got it coming out of the middle of the Tyne Bridge, which is better than sort of halfway either way, I suppose. I wonder if you can get to a point where that comes out of there, so you get like a weird M shape. That's out to McDonald's then. I think you've framed the Sage pretty nicely. You know, this gap here is sufficient to give it enough room to breathe. Yeah, I think all in all, it's a really good shot. I like it. Makes me want to go there. I suppose the only way you could really get a different shot is just to move somewhere totally different and just do the same because the processing's spot on. No, that's excellent. Well done. Oh well, that's it. That's 6. That went pretty quick. Yep. So escape, castle, the tall building with a mentally high perspective, the colourful houses, and the lovely shot of Newcastle at night. Right, well I hope that was helpful, and look forward to seeing your photos next week. As I say, if you've not already joined in, just drop us a note at trading@mcfade.co.uk and I'll send you an invite to join, and you can just drop a couple of photos in for the next 2 sessions. Alright, thanks a lot. Bye.